Welcome back to Just Chattin, and this is the series of videos we do on Thursday and Sunday evenings just for our own entertainment. So for all you Audie fans, I know exactly where my bad boy is right now, and there is going to be no interrupting his little nap. He is lying on the kitchen floor on his back with his paws splayed out, doing his best imitation of a dead cat. So why is he doing this? Well, it is really, really hot here today. And Audie is hoping to get a nice little breeze on his belly. And that's why I don't think we're going to be seeing him. I think if I were covered in ice cubes, he might want to come out and sit in my lap. But I think no. He is going to stay as far away from me and my body heat as he can today. So we are just going to have to content ourselves with knowing a cat is comfortable while he's got a breeze on his belly. We're going to take a look at the intro, and we'll be right back. So, as I mentioned before we took a quick look at the intro, it is hot here today. And I don't want to have to turn the air conditioning on because my sinuses don't react well to air conditioning. And I put that off every year as long as I can. I'm pretty sure I can get through one more day without dealing with air conditioning that's going to give me headaches. So I'm going to give it a try. I have a fan. And here. One of my fancy fans, but yeah, I'm pretty sure we can get through this little heat spat. So, what I want to talk about this evening, I don't want to talk about this. The subject we're going to discuss this evening, which is not one I want to discuss, has to do with some photographs Nutmeg has recently posted. And I think we need to look at what the heck this woman is marketing now, because I'm finding this really, really disturbing. So let's start with this one. This is a photograph, ostensibly of the putative child Lilibet. How we would know this, I have no idea, because what it is it's a body, a disincorporated body. No head, no feet, just a child's torso. And I'm even making an assumption there. It might not be a child's torso, but this is sort of the narrative that we have to face. Child's torso in a dirty, wrinkled t-shirt with what is allegedly a picture of Beyonce on it. So what is Nutmeg selling when she posts this? And remember, Nutmeg is very, very strategic about this. If she posts a picture, they're all highly curated, all of them. She is putting out an image she wants to put before us. So let's take a look at this. What is she selling us? Is she selling us t-shirts? And I would say no to that. First of all, I haven't found any t-shirts on the As Ever webpage, but I would also say that anybody who is selling a t-shirt, even if they don't know the first thing about sales, does know that t-shirt has to be clean, it has to be pressed. You cannot sell people wrinkled, dirty clothing. And the reason for that is the image you put out is what you're selling them. The product becomes secondary to the image. You throw out a dirty, wrinkled t-shirt, and what people feel you are selling them is dirt and wrinkles. Not so much the t-shirt, but how does the t-shirt make them feel? And if that t-shirt is dirty and wrinkled, it's going to make the customer feel dirty and wrinkled, and they are not going to want to buy it. So I would have to say no, she is not selling t-shirts. So I guess next up is she selling brand Beyonce? I'm going to say no to that too. And the reason I'm going to say no to that is because Nutmeg has never sold any brand but herself. Even when she has been with the sock puppet, Invictus, good example. She is supposed to be selling the Invictus games to the public, still does nothing but talk about herself. She is her only product. She is the only thing she likes enough to try to put out there in a positive light. So is she going to, sell Beyonce? No, not likely at all. On the other hand, what she could be selling, and I will throw this, these first three I'm throwing out, this one is the most likely. Is she trying to sell her relationship with Beyonce? Is she showing a picture of what is allegedly the putative child Lilybeth in a Beyonce t-shirt to try to say, look, Beyonce and I are such good friends that my putative child is wearing her face on her chest? And here's the thing. We've seen this before. Nutmeg did meet Beyonce at the Lion King premiere. And we know because we have photographs that have been circulated ever since. And mind you, that was in 2019. So we're looking at photos that are, 6.5 years old. It was, January of 2019, I think. So we're looking at very, very old photographs. And I have not seen any photos of Nutmeg with Beyonce at any point, since then. None. And if the photos were out there, boy, we would be seeing them. Nutmeg would be spreading them all over the place. We did come across Beyonce's name in the Harry and Meghan docudrama Netflix did, when Nutmeg alleged she got a text from Beyonce. But a lot of things were alleged in that ridiculous docudrama, and heavy on the drama because this was certainly not an actual documentary. It strayed too far from the facts. So, did that text actually take place? Who knows? Did it take place when Nutmeg asserted it took place? Again, who knows? We have nothing but Nutmeg holding up a phone saying, oh, look, Beyonce sent me a text. It's like, come on, I can hold my phone up and make the same claim. So, is anybody buying this? I would have to say no. So, is that what she's selling? Her relationship with Beyonce? And I'm going to have to say no to that, even though that is the most likely of the three scenarios. So here's the thing. If you pull back, what is she selling? Unfortunately, it really looks like she is selling the putative child. And in a very, very creepy way. A child's torso with no head and a dirty t-shirt. You gotta wonder. But wait, there's more. So the same day that photo comes out, we've got another photo. And if you look at the two photos side by side, Nutmeg on one hand and the putative child on the other, what you end up seeing is some common threads here. Can't see Nutmeg's head either. You can't see Nutmeg's feet. What you see is Nutmeg lying on the ground, no head visible, no feet visible, just sort of a disembodied torso. However, when we look at the photo of Nutmeg, what's coming across to you? Just what do you think she's trying to sell? Because I would have to say it seems pretty clear to me that what she's trying to sell in that photo is what everybody on Madison Avenue has been trying to sell, well, ever since they started advertising, and that's sex. Sex is what sells. And a woman with her head covered, lying on the ground, yeah, you gotta say that there's probably an element of sex in that. The problem I'm having is I'm seeing a little too much in terms of common threads between Nutmeg on the ground and what is allegedly the putative child in a dirty t-shirt. So am I overthinking this? Oh, I doubt it. I very much doubt it. And I am starting to look at what exactly Nutmeg is selling when she puts a child out into the media, crops its head off, takes that face out of the picture and just throws out the disembodied torso of a child. That's starting to scare me. And this is the truth. This is starting to scare me. This is starting to look a lot creepier than anything I'm even just, mildly uncomfortable with. I look at this and I think to myself, good heavens, can I make it to the bathroom before I get sick all over the rug? There's nothing you can say about this. I think this is something that I didn't want to have to throw out. I really didn't. But for me, at least, once you start seeing that, especially with two pictures coming out the same day, both disembodied torsos, one clearly selling Nutmeg in what I have to characterize as a sexy pose, and the child, again, disembodied torso, I'm not comfortable with this at all. Not at all. Ew. However, there's so much more. So let's take a look at what Nutmeg has thrown out there recently in the last couple of weeks or so. She threw out that weird as ever video when she was very clearly vamping for the camera, lying back on a chair with this dreamy look in her eyes, and it's like, oh, isn't my life delightful? Basically, well, I was alive in the 1950s. I can absolutely tell you that is 1950s sex kitten image. Good heavens. And then we have another photo that came out. Nutmeg published this photo. And this is Nutmeg in a denim shirt and jeans. Again, just disembodied torso. But we've got a shirt that is unbuttoned to the point where, if you look closely, you can actually see the top of her bra. So it's just cut way too low. And her legs are spread wide apart. Not to put too fine a point on it, but for me, that was basically the first thing I saw. It's like, what, is she trying to mount a horse here? Ew. Again, it's very hard to look at these images and say, oh, this has nothing to do with sex. I'm not willing to make that leap. Nutmeg is clearly selling sex in some way. Do I know what way this is? No, I don't. Do I care? No, not really. What I do know is that she is playing with this, I don't know, Nutmeg the sex goddess. Who knows where this one is going? Is that how she ended up throwing that same disembodied torso of a small child into the mix? Who knows? Who knows? What I can say is lines are being crossed here. And I don't care if it's intentional or otherwise. But again, as I say, Nutmeg's pictures, these are all intentional. These are all curated photos. And I do not feel, especially anybody who is touting themselves as a female founder and entrepreneur, when they are throwing pictures like this out, I feel we have every right in the world to question what she is selling. What is she putting out there for public consumption? Just let's throw it on social media, because anybody with access to a computer or smartphone, my goodness, for all I know, you can get this stuff on your wristwatch these days. Anybody can access this stuff. And I would be really, really concerned. I would be humiliated if an image like that one with the low-cut jeans shirt and the legs spread wide apart, I would never permit an image of myself in a position like that to be published. I would not. I mean, I guess sometimes you can't help what gets published, but my goodness, I certainly wouldn't publish it myself. And I am seriously wondering. Now, we know from the Bloomberg interview that Nutmeg was thinking, and probably still is, was thinking of asserting herself into the arenas of fashion and beauty because she said so. I think most people associate me with fashion and beauty. I don't think anybody associates her with fashion and beauty. I think this is her own fantasy. I think people associate her with a father in a hospital bed on the other side of the country, with the late queen on her deathbed being tormented by this woman's vicious lies. We have a lot of associations that have nothing to do with fashion and beauty. But I do think this is the arena she is attempting to establish herself in. Do I think that As Ever commercial was anything more than a rather fancy open audition she was throwing out to Hollywood? Look at me, I'm still sexy. Well, she's getting mighty close to her expiration date. Oh, and I should say, as an older woman myself, I do not think that age automatically shelves a woman. There are some people out there who were just amazing, absolutely amazing when they were older than Nutmeg. Joan Collins comes to mind.
You get off with Joan Collins quick enough and she's 50.
50-something.
And you do it with Tina Turner and she's a granny.
I wouldn't.
You would so.
So, I am absolutely not trying to say that once a woman reaches a certain age, she can't be sexy anymore. Not true. However, in general, women who want to be thought of as sexy are not simultaneously attempting to sell their brand to the world as mother, wife, royal. No, not quite. So I also think that if you are selling sex, and Nutmeg is clearly selling sex, I don't see how anybody can look at this in any other context. Don't stick a child in the middle of it, because once people start making the connections, it's like you can't unring that bell. Somebody looks at that, sees this disincorporated torso of a child coming out on the same day as this torso of the mother with, the head not showing. The connections are going to be made, whether you want them to be made or not. I look at that, I don't want to be making those connections, for heaven's sake. But it's very difficult to escape those connections, especially when you look at this and see, oh gosh, just the torso. If that were just the torso of a grown woman, there would be no doubt in anybody's mind that sex was on the table. That was what was being marketed. No question about it. And any good feminist not Nutmeg, I'm talking about real good feminists. Any good feminist would say to you that is the most exploitative way to present a woman to the public. Just the torso, not even the face, not even the head, the brain, etc. You know, you just can't unsee this stuff. And now I am seriously questioning where Nutmeg is going with all of this. I am also seriously questioning where the alleged father is in all of this. So, yeah, he's willing to talk about other people's children and their harms on social media. Where is he when what is alleged to be his own daughter is being exploited in this way? And this, gosh, even for Nutmeg, this is really crossing a line as far as I'm concerned. All right, so that is what I have for you. Thank you for being with us. I hope to see you next time. We are going to be looking at a slideshow on the way out because, boy, do we really need something to move our heads out of this space before we go face our day. So, slideshow, thanks for being with us. And in the meanwhile, have a terrific day.